Ladies and gentlemen, there is a truth many of us overlook. Every single day, we are teaching people how to treat us. Whether we realize it or not, the way we set boundaries, the words we allow, the behaviors we tolerate, all of it becomes a silent lesson to the world around us. If you constantly say yes when your heart is screaming no, people will assume you are always available. If you let disrespect slide, people will believe you accept it. But when you draw the line, when you declare, this is who I am, this is what I deserve, you not only protect your peace, you rewrite the rules of your life. When people hear the word boundary, they often imagine something harsh, like a wall, a fence, or a barrier meant to keep others out. But boundaries are not walls, they are doors. They are the guidelines we set to protect our emotional, physical, and mental space. A wall says, stay away. A boundary says, if you want to come close, here's the way to do it with respect. That difference is everything. Boundaries are not about shutting people down. They are about creating a safe environment where love, trust, and understanding can grow. Without them, relationships become unbalanced and resentment begins to take root. Think about this. Every healthy relationship, whether it's friendship, family, or partnership, needs structure. That structure is made of boundaries. Without them, people will stumble blindly into your life, not knowing what is sacred to you, not knowing what wounds you, and not knowing what makes you feel loved. Boundaries are a gift you give not only yourself, but also the people around you. They take away the guessing game. They offer clarity. Instead of wondering where they stand, people know exactly how to treat you. This eliminates confusion, reduces conflict, and increases respect. Boundaries are like maps. Without them, people get lost in how to relate to you. With them, they know the road that leads to healthy connection. And yet, so many of us resist setting boundaries because we fear they will make us look cold or distant. We believe that saying no will make us unlovable, or that asking for respect will push people away. But here's the truth. The people who truly value you will not leave when you set a boundary. They will lean in closer because they finally know the terms of safety. Boundaries weed out those who only sought to use you or take advantage of your silence. They reveal who belongs in your life and who cannot rise to the level of your worth. In fact, the most loving relationships you'll ever have are built on strong boundaries because those boundaries create an atmosphere of mutual trust. Let's look at what happens without boundaries. Imagine a house with no doors, no locks, no windows. Anyone could walk in at any time, take what they want, and leave you with nothing. That house would never feel like home. It would feel like a place of vulnerability, fear, and constant exhaustion. Now imagine a house with doors. Doors don't keep out the people you love. They simply allow you to choose who enters and under what conditions. That is what boundaries do for your life. They allow you to create a sense of safety, to filter who has access to your energy, and to decide what kind of presence you will allow into your inner world. Without that, you are left at the mercy of everyone else's actions. It's also important to realize that boundaries are not about controlling other people. They are about controlling yourself. You cannot force someone to respect you, but you can decide how close they can get if they do not. For example, you cannot stop someone from being rude, but you can decide not to stay in the room when they are. You cannot force someone to treat you with love, but you can decide not to continue investing in that relationship. Boundaries are not ultimatums, they are choices. They are ways of saying, I cannot control you, but I can control how I participate in this relationship. That shift of perspective is where your power lies. Lastly, boundaries are an invitation to deeper love. They show others the path to your heart. They teach people how to cherish you instead of accidentally harming you. When you clearly communicate what you need, whether it's space, honesty, kindness, or time, you're giving people the tools to love you well. Boundaries don't push love away. They make room for the right kind of love to enter. They create a foundation where peace and respect can thrive. When people know the guidelines, they don't have to guess. And when they don't have to guess, they can love you more intentionally. That's why boundaries are not walls. They are bridges, connecting you to others in a healthier, safer, and more authentic way. There's a saying, what you allow will continue. This is the heart of why silence can become dangerous. Many of us think that if we remain quiet, we're keeping the peace. But the truth is, silence doesn't erase the problem. It amplifies it. When someone disrespects you, crosses a line, or hurts you, and you choose to say nothing, you're unintentionally sending a message. This behavior is acceptable. Silence is not neutral, it speaks. It teaches. It creates a pattern where others believe they can treat you however they wish without consequence. Over time, this doesn't just damage your relationships. It erodes your self-worth. Think about how often people regret the things they didn't say. We replay those moments in our minds. The time we should have spoken up when someone dismissed us, the moment we wished we had defended ourselves when someone crossed the line. That regret weighs heavy because deep down, we know our silence gave permission. And once a pattern is established, it is much harder to undo. People become comfortable in their disrespect because they've never been challenged. It becomes their normal. And unfortunately, it also becomes yours. The longer you stay silent, the more invisible your needs and feelings become. Now, this doesn't mean you must respond with anger or confrontation every time someone mistreats you. Speaking up doesn't have to be loud, it just has to be clear. It can be as simple as saying, I don't appreciate being spoken to that way, or that comment made me uncomfortable. Those words may feel small, but they are powerful. They interrupt the pattern. They remind the other person that you see yourself as worthy of respect. They declare that you have a line and that line must be honored. Silence leaves others guessing about your boundaries. Speech makes those boundaries visible and undeniable. It's also important to understand that silence not only affects how others treat you, but also how you treat yourself. When you silence your own voice, you are essentially betraying yourself. You're telling your inner self that her feelings don't matter enough to be expressed. Over time, this creates a deep internal conflict, one where you're constantly swallowing your truth and carrying the weight of unspoken words. That burden shows up as resentment, exhaustion, or even self-doubt. You begin to wonder why people don't respect you, forgetting that you taught them not to by never speaking up. Your peace is tied to your voice, and when you silence it, you give away both your power and your peace. Of course, speaking up is not always easy. Fear often gets in the way. Fear of conflict, fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood. Many of us stay silent because we've been conditioned to keep the peace at all costs. But here's the reality. True peace cannot exist where there is silence about harm. That's not peace, that's suppression. Protecting peace doesn't mean avoiding hard conversations. It means creating an environment where respect is the standard, and respect cannot exist without honesty. So the next time fear tempts you into silence, remember this Speaking up may risk losing someone, but staying silent risks losing yourself. Finally, think of silence and speech as seeds. Every time you stay silent, you plant a seed that says, this treatment is fine. And every time you speak, you plant a seed that says, respect is required here. Over time, those seeds grow into the culture of your relationships. You get to choose what grows in your life cycles of disrespect fed by silence or cycles of honor nurtured by your voice. The choice may not always feel easy, but it is always yours. And when you choose to break the silence, you not only protect your peace, you reclaim your power. The way you treat yourself sets the tone for how others will treat you. People are always observing, sometimes unconsciously, how you carry yourself, how you speak about yourself, and how you allow others to interact with you. This becomes a mirror they use to reflect back their treatment of you. If you constantly belittle your own worth, apologize for existing, or settle for crumbs, others will take that as a signal, this is acceptable. But if you hold yourself with dignity, if you walk with quiet confidence, and if you make it clear that you expect respect, people will adjust. Your standard becomes the mirror they look into before engaging with you. Consider this: if you walk into a room apologizing for every word you say, people may begin to believe your words don't carry much weight. But if you speak with clarity and stand by your thoughts, people listen more intently. The same applies to relationships. If you accept broken promises, neglect, or dishonesty without consequence, you are teaching others that your loyalty can be bought at a cheap price. On the other hand, if you calmly step back from those who break trust, you demonstrate that your time, energy, and love are too valuable to be wasted. The reflection you hold up through your standards determines whether people rise to treat you better or sink to treat you worse. It's not only about what you demand from others, it's also about what you allow for yourself. For instance, how do you talk to yourself in the privacy of your own mind if you constantly call yourself not enough or too much? That inner dialogue seeps into your outer world. People notice when you don't believe in yourself, and some may use it as an excuse to diminish you further. But when you treat yourself with kindness, when you celebrate your strengths instead of shaming your flaws, you set an example. You show people that you expect the same care externally that you give internally. The respect you cultivate for yourself becomes contagious. Now, this doesn't mean perfection. Setting a standard isn't about never making mistakes or always being strong. It's about being clear. You don't have to pretend to be invincible for others to respect you. In fact, your vulnerability can still demand dignity. Saying, I'm struggling, but I still deserve kindness, is powerful. Your standard doesn't collapse just because life gets hard. The mirror you hold up simply says, I may not be at my best right now, but I am still worthy of being treated with gentleness. That steadiness, even in weakness, reinforces to others that your value isn't conditional on performance, it's inherent. Sometimes raising your standard means losing people. And that is one of the hardest truths to accept. When you refuse to accept what you once tolerated, some relationships will shift. Some people may call you difficult or changed. But this is not a loss, it is clarity. Those who cannot adjust to your reflection, who cannot honor the standard you set, were never meant to be close. On the other hand, the ones who stay, the ones who rise to meet your standard will become the safest, most genuine connections you'll ever have. Raising your standard doesn't shrink your world, it refines it. Finally, remember this: your life is a stage, and you are both the director and the lead actor. The way you write your role, the way you carry yourself on that stage, sets the example for how others play their part with you. If you stumble in apologetically, they will treat you as background. If you walk in fully aware of your worth, they will treat you as central. Your standard is not just about what you demand, it's about what you embody. When you live as though your worth is undeniable, others have no choice but to see it too. You are always holding up a mirror. The question is, what reflection are you offering the world? Peace is not something you stumble upon. It is something you protect. And protecting it is not a sign of weakness or selfishness. It is an act of deep self-respect. Too often, we confuse chaos with connection. We convince ourselves that absorbing other people's drama, carrying their burdens, and sacrificing our calm makes us good, loyal, or loving. But in truth, when you allow your peace to be constantly disturbed, you are betraying yourself. Protecting your peace means drawing a line between what is yours to carry and what is not. It means acknowledging that your inner calm is sacred and it deserves to be preserved. Think of peace as a home. If you let anyone walk in, track mud on the floor, slam the doors, and rearrange the furniture, that home will no longer feel like a safe place. It will feel like a place you endure. Protecting your peace is like choosing who gets a key. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your space, your energy, or your mind. Some people may bring storms with them, and if you allow them unrestricted entry, they will leave chaos behind. But when you learn to guard that space, to say no when needed, to step away from unnecessary conflict, you reclaim ownership over your inner world. One of the most misunderstood ideas about peace is that it means avoiding conflict altogether. But protecting peace doesn't mean you never face hard conversations or challenges. It means you handle them from a grounded place, refusing to let them consume your emotional stability. Protecting your peace might look like telling someone, I'm not going to argue about this right now, or choosing to disengage from a toxic cycle rather than being dragged back into it. It's not about pretending problems don't exist. It's about deciding which problems are worth your energy and which ones you must release to preserve your well-being. There's also a cultural lie many of us have been taught that self-sacrifice is proof of love. We're told that to be a good friend, partner, or family member, we must always be available, even if it means sacrificing our peace. But real love does not demand the destruction of self. When you give until you are empty, you are not practicing love, you are practicing neglect, both toward yourself and the relationship. Because a version of you who is drained, resentful, and exhausted cannot show up fully. Protecting your peace allows you to love from a healthier place, one where you are not constantly depleted, but balanced and present. It is also worth noting that protecting your peace often requires uncomfortable choices. You may have to distance yourself from people who thrive on chaos, even if they are family. You may have to step back from environments that constantly trigger stress, even if they are familiar. You may even have to let go of habits within yourself, like overthinking, people-pleasing, or perfectionism that rob you of peace. These choices are not easy, and they may make you feel guilty at first. But guilt fades and peace remains. And when you learn to prioritize peace over guilt, you begin to see that your well-being is worth more than the temporary discomfort of saying no. Ultimately, protecting your peace is the most powerful way of telling yourself, I matter. My mind matters. My spirit matters. It is refusing to be a dumping ground for other people's negativity. It is declining invitations to chaos disguised as connection. It is recognizing that your inner calm is the foundation for everything you do. Your relationships, your work, your health. Without peace, everything else suffers. But when you protect it fiercely, everything else in your life begins to align. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It is sacred. It is the clearest sign that you respect yourself enough to create a life that honors your worth. Life is a table, and every relationship you nurture is a seat around it. Too often, we hand out those seats freely, believing that anyone who wants to sit close should be welcomed. We think we owe people a place in our inner world simply because they've known us for years or because they carry a title like friend, partner, or family. But the truth is this: not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Some people only come to take, not to give. Some bring chaos instead of calm, manipulation instead of love, or judgment instead of understanding. And if you allow them to remain, they will poison the entire atmosphere of your life. Protecting your peace requires discernment about who truly earns a seat and who must stand at a distance. We often struggle with this because we confuse access with love. We believe that denying someone closeness is cruel or that creating distance means we don't care. But boundaries around your table are not rejection. They are protection. Allowing everyone unlimited access is not love. It's carelessness with your own soul. When you start being intentional about who gets a seat, you are not closing your heart. You are creating a healthier space where genuine love can flourish. The table of your life should be filled with people who bring nourishment, not poison. That means you must learn to evaluate not only how people speak, but also how they show up. Do they honor you? Do they respect your boundaries? Do they contribute to your growth? If the answer is no, they may not deserve a seat as close as they once had. Here's the difficult truth: some of the people you love most may not be capable of sitting at your table in the way you wish they could. That doesn't mean you hate them, and it doesn't mean you wish them harm. It simply means you are recognizing that closeness must be earned through consistency, respect, and trust. Think about it. If someone consistently undermines you, drains you, or treats you with disregard, what message do you send by allowing them unlimited access? You are teaching them that their behavior is acceptable. By limiting their seat or removing it altogether, you send a different message. I may care about you, but I care about myself too, and I will not sacrifice my well-being for the sake of familiarity. It's also important to understand that letting go of people who don't deserve a seat is not just about protecting yourself. It's about making room for those who do. When you keep your table cluttered with people who do not value you, there is no space left for those who will. Every seat is an investment of time, energy, and emotion. If you spend all your energy trying to feed those who only take without giving, you will have nothing left to share with those who are capable of genuine love and support. Sometimes, clearing a chair is the very act that allows someone better suited to sit down and truly honor you. The fear of loneliness often keeps us from doing this. We'd rather tolerate disrespect than face an empty seat. But remember, an empty seat at your table is far less damaging than one filled by someone who poisons the entire meal. Loneliness may feel uncomfortable, but it is a temporary discomfort. Toxic closeness, on the other hand, corrodes your spirit over time. Choosing to remove or distance someone who cannot meet your standard is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of courage. It is choosing your long-term peace over short-term fear. And in that choice, you affirm to yourself that your table is sacred and you are worthy of healthy, nourishing connections. Finally, remind yourself that your table reflects your self-worth. If you fill it with people who demean you, neglect you, or misuse your loyalty, your life will echo that chaos. But if you carefully and intentionally invite those who honor you, respect your boundaries, and celebrate your growth, your life will begin to mirror that peace. Protecting your table is not about excluding everyone. It is about creating a sacred circle where love, respect, and growth can thrive. You don't need a crowded table, you need a meaningful one. And the moment you recognize that not everyone deserves a seat, you take back the power to design a life that truly reflects your worth. People believe what you do far more than what you say. Words can inspire, but actions are what teach. And not just actions in isolated moments, actions repeated over time. Consistency is the language of respect, the proof of your standard, and the strongest teacher in every relationship. If you demand respect today but tolerate disrespect tomorrow, you send a confusing message. If you set a boundary once but abandon it the next time, people quickly learn that your standard is negotiable. Consistency is what turns your boundary into a law rather than a suggestion. It is what shows others that you mean what you say and that your worth is not up for debate. Think about how children learn. They don't learn from one lecture or one rule. They learn from consistent repetition. Every time you enforce the rule, they understand it more deeply. Adults are no different. People around you will test your boundaries, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unconsciously. If you remain steady, if you hold your line each time, they begin to understand. This is who she is. This is what she will not allow. But if you bend the rule out of guilt, fear, or pressure, you train them to keep pushing. Inconsistency confuses people. Consistency clarifies your standard. Consistency also protects your own peace. When you constantly shift between saying yes and no, between tolerating disrespect and rejecting it, you exhaust yourself. You begin to feel unstable, questioning whether you are being too harsh one moment and too lenient the next. But when you commit to consistency, you free yourself from that internal chaos. You no longer need to debate with yourself every time someone crosses a line. You already know the answer. Your standard is set. That clarity brings an incredible sense of calm. Protecting your peace becomes simpler when you are not constantly renegotiating your boundaries. There is also a profound truth here. Consistency is a reflection of self-respect. Anyone can have moments of strength, but when you remain steady, even when it's hard, you prove to yourself that you are worthy of being treated with honor at all times, not just when it's convenient. Think of it as a muscle. The more consistently you hold your boundaries, the stronger that muscle becomes. Over time, it feels less like effort and more like second nature. You stop explaining, justifying, or apologizing for your standards because they've become woven into who you are. Consistency teaches the world, but it also teaches you. Of course, consistency will cost you. Some people will walk away when they realize they can no longer manipulate, disrespect, or use you as they once did. And in those moments, you may be tempted to lower your standard just to keep them close. But remember, if someone leaves because you held steady in your boundaries, they were never aligned with your worth in the first place. Consistency reveals who is truly meant to be in your life. Those who love you will adapt to your boundaries. Those who don't will fall away. And as painful as that can be, it is also cleansing. It clears the space for healthier, more respectful relationships to take root. Finally, understand that consistency is not about perfection. It's about alignment. You don't have to get it right every single time. You are human, and there will be moments when you slip. What matters is your commitment to return to your standard each time you notice yourself drifting. Consistency is built in the return. It is the steady pattern that emerges even through mistakes, and that teaches people how to treat you. Over weeks, months, and years, consistency becomes your reputation. It becomes your unspoken declaration, I value myself too much to allow less than respect. And once people learn that through your unwavering actions, they have no choice but to treat you accordingly or step aside. So when you walk away from this moment, remember this truth: you are the one who teaches the world how to treat you. Every boundary you set, every word you speak, every standard you hold, and every consistent action you take, these are your lessons to others. And the greatest lesson of all is this: you value yourself. You respect yourself. You protect your peace because you know it is sacred. The people who belong in your life will rise to meet you at the level of your worth. They will not fear your boundaries. They will honor them. They will not resist your standard. They will grow with it. And those who cannot, those who fall away, are not losses. They are space makers. They are clearing the way for better, healthier, and more aligned relationships to enter. You are not here to be consumed by chaos, diminished by disrespect, or silenced into invisibility. You are here to live with dignity. You are here to love deeply, but without losing yourself. You are here to walk in peace and to build connections that honor the fullness of who you are. So raise your standard, protect your table, guard your peace, speak your truth, and above all, remain consistent. Because once you decide to live this way, the world cannot help but respond. You will stop begging for respect and start commanding it. Not through force, not through fear, but through the quiet power of self-respect. And when that happens, everything shifts. Your relationships, your peace, your confidence, your entire life begins to align with your worth. This is the gift of teaching others how to treat you. You don't just change how they see you, you change how you see yourself. And that is where true freedom lies.